How do we sound?
Freaking beautiful.
Beautiful.
You got a little smoothie right here.
I get it.
Yeah, you got it. How do you pronounce your last name?
Can you try?
Lachenauer.
Yeah.
I got it?
Yeah. Who told you?
No one. Okay, anyways, so Ari Lachenauer. I'm here with Ari Lachenauer,
Yes.
who newly moved to Los Angeles. Where from, Ari?
I'm from Queens, New York
Okay.
City, Astoria, 38th and Broadway, 31-69, apartment 3. I was there for 3 years, almost 3 years, and I was daunted by the prospect of going through another New York summer. Winter.
Interesting.
And summer, but both of them.
The seasons.
The seasons, daunting.
The seasons are what brought you here.
Yeah, I had one of my best friends moved to LA back in December. He's a dog groomer, and he had messaged me every 2 months after that, and being like, "Hey, when are you gonna move? When are you gonna move?" He was initially, we were gonna move together in January, but then he had some financial troubles, and he ended up leaving early to escape from the IRS. And he stayed with a friend of his at Park La Brea for like 6 months, and then he kept messaging me like, "Hey, you ready to move? You ready to move?" And at first I was like, "Yeah, but like not yet. I still had things." And then right as I decided that I was leaving to go to LA anyway, that's when I started meeting really amazing people in New York. So then I was like delaying it even further because I was like entering into this new circle of people.
That's how it usually works.
Yeah, I know.
As soon as you are ready to go, everything changes.
You know, I had kind of reached a point, where there were a couple things in my life that I had wanted to follow up on and do that I never gave myself the space or time for. Back in New York, I was just very busy. Like, I worked a decent amount, but at the same time, like you have your social circles, and I went to school in New York. I grew up in New York, so I had a lot of people from my life that ended up in the city. So I'd always have sort of like somewhere to go. I kind of live my life in a way that in order for me to feel close to people, I have to see them frequently, and so if I felt like I was losing touch with somebody, or if I hadn't seen somebody in a while, I'd feel very compelled to go and see them.
What were the things you wanted to do?
So that would be like, I'm 25 years old, I'm like, and in that mid-20 section, I'm like, there are a couple of things, like by the time I'm 30, I would like to have at least looked back and said, well, I've dedicated time here to either A, prove to myself that this is a miserable idea and I should never do this again, but at least you did it, or to be like, set yourself up with some baseline so you can continue doing something like in the future. So one of those things is music, I've been writing for since 2019, but I haven't released anything. I don't really mind, I'll sit on songs. I get better, the better of a musician I am as I get older, the better, I'll rewrite the songs, I'll be better than they were before, and I found that to be true. But at least to myself. But that was one thing. So I really want to come out here and dedicate myself to those spaces and taking the time to maybe just record an EP, right? And I've had a great time in these first couple of months, these first 3 months that I've been here, going out to open mics and just meeting a very open and welcoming community of people, which you guys are obviously a part of. I also wanted to try to get back into acting, while I was out here also. I had a past of it, and I haven't done it in years, and I figured, this is a pretty decent place to do that. I bought a motorcycle when I went out here, so there's just a lot more space for experimenting with myself that I was lacking in New York, and I really wanted to make sure that when I moved here, that everything was, for the most part, super intentional.
Yeah.
Still spontaneous, but everything breathed with intention,
Love that. What's your writing process like?
Songwriting?
Yeah.
It changed. I mean, I only really write a song once every 3 months or 4 months, but it changes every time I feel like. But mostly, it comes down with chord progression, and then you go from chord progression to melody in your head. So chord progression breeds melody. Sometimes it's the opposite, melody to chord progression. But as I'm not a very experienced guitarist, that's really hard for me. So it usually goes from chord progression to melody. And, when you're recording a verse and a chorus to a song, and you're just opening your phone app, and you're I'm just going to say any word that comes to my mind, syllables that fit. And then
Dummy lyrics, yeah.
Dummy lyrics. And then 50% of the time, I like use a couple of those words anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because the syllables are right where you want them to be, and the sounds, the consonants are kind of right. And then so only then do I really get a sense of where the song is going. Only after I get like that initial hit of those lyrics of like, because like, you know, even with dummy lyrics, it's still part of the song. Like the song is still like the only reason that you're saying the words that you say, even if they're just for, you know, fodder in the middle, is because you feel it in the moment when you're playing the song. So it's still very much a part of, embedded in the essence of it, I feel like. So, and then from there, lyric writing has never really been a problem. Like, at least for me, it's like, you know, I'm sure I'll run out of ideas eventually, but it's sort of like putting those pieces together. You have that chord that you love, that verse, that chorus. Finding a nice bridge is always very important. And then for me, just dynamic stuff. It's like there's always got to be dynamic switches in any song that I sing. Soft, loud, soft, or just a combination of them. I feel like in being musicians, the only thing that you can really ask of yourself is to, when you write, is to lean into the things that you know how to do best, or that you know like work best for yourself. Not saying that it's the only way, but it makes it easier to write a song that you can stand behind. You know. Because like again, like my stuff isn't very technical, but like I know what I enjoy hearing from myself the most on like a vocal standpoint, and then I know at least enough on guitar to get myself there, you know, and so that usually helps. But since I've come here, I've also been writing a little bit more frequently, even if it's small stuff, and that has also been nice. Also a little bit more of that intention that I've mentioned.
What does music give you? Like, what do you love about music?
Oh, it's, you know, a reason for sanity. It's like, I feel like for anybody that writes, you know, you could just live your life and you could just have these melodies and harmonies and things jammed in your brain that you have to listen to over and over again 24/7. I found a healthy release, and I whistle all the time. You know, and so that's been a good, like a little, like it's like a basketball that has too much air in it. You put a little pin in it and let it trickle out. So that allows me to stay sane for enough of the day, you know. But in general, it's like, you know, if I never wrote anything a day in my life, like I think I'd go full Jack Nicholson, like in like 2 years. You know what I mean? Just like all that stuff just crammed up there, you know.
I'm also a whistler. Sometimes I get really complicated with the whistling. You're just like doing a dish and you ever have to like stop because you're just like deep in the whistle.
My roommate always says that he's like, I actually hate it when people whistle, but like, you have a really nice whistle and I don't mind listening to you.
No.
And like, which is really sweet, but like, I happen to think I'm a really good whistler. I've been whistling so many songs from Phantom in the last like week. I just can't stop.
Okay.
So, you know.
Oh, as in Phantom of the Opera. I get it.
I might be a little shrill in the microphone.
It's great. I love that musical.
I love that too.
Speaking of which, one of Joey's questions that he wanted to ask you is, what do you think Donald Trump's favorite song is?
Well, I feel like I know what he's gonna sing. God forbid, you know, God forbid. If he gets elected again, you know, next year. Guess who's back? Back again. Donnie's back, tell a friend. Guess what, Biden? I'm back, baby. You can't get rid of me again. I'm back and I'm better than ever. That's what I hear, at least.
Cool. Like, you think NSYNC when you think Donald Trump? Or is that's Backstreet Boys? Oh my God.
No, that's Slim Shady, bro.
Oh, right.
I do think of NSYNC every time I think about Donald Trump, though. For whatever reason.
I'll just cut it right there.
Bye, bye.
So you think of NSYNC every time. But you know what's really weird?
What?
When Joey mentioned that earlier, I actually looked it up, and
Is that on record?
what he says is he loves. Well, I thought of this because you brought up Phantom of the Opera, but and there was a photo from Phantom of the Opera in this article I was reading. But the first song that he mentioned is YMCA.
That makes sense.
Right. He said that because it gets the people moving.
I mean, have you seen the videos of him moving? Probably the way he's like, yeah, something like I mean, it's like one of those, like, it's like one of the easiest songs to dance to, and I think it makes sense.
Have a planned dance.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've
It's
seen
an
him done
arm
it.
dance. Yeah.
I was like, is that on record though? Of him being
Yeah.
like, "This is my favorite song."
Well, he says that someone asked him like what sort of music he likes.
Do you
And he
think that
said-
guy listens to music on the regular?
No,
honestly,
that was what when Joey asked me this morning. I was like, he doesn't listen to music.
he doesn't strike me as a music listener.
I mean, like,
Which is like, who would say that, you know? But like,
there's a
I
lot
don't-
of people that don't.
I don't
listen
think
to
there's a
music.
single thing, like, person that I would say, like, this person isn't a music person. But like, that guy, no music in his life.
I don't know. I feel like I met a lot of people that I'm like, oh, they don't listen to music. When I'm like, what's wrong with them? And then you're like, oh, they don't listen to music.
I'm not gonna lie though, when I was a kid, I had like about a 2-year period where I stopped listening to music entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just nothing at all.
Well, I had like spent so many hours downloading all these CDs on my iPod Shuffle on iTunes, and then I remember one time I like plugged it in again to download a new thing, and it completely wiped my whole shuffle, and I lost all of my music, and I
And
gave
just
up.
like broke your soul.
Yeah, I gave up from a period of like 8th grade to before I got my first smartphone in 10th grade.
Damn.
I listened to like no music
Wow.
because the only other option would be like to buy 99 cents on iTunes, and like I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
My iPod Shuffle was too old at that
Really,
point.
YouTube.
Kind of gave up.
Yeah.
Spotify free, yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like for 15 minutes before I wanted to blow my brains out, you know.
Because of the ads.
So yeah, I feel like I am emotionally, musically underdeveloped a little bit. So who knows? Watch out, world.
So
2 years.
what did you listen to before you gave it up?
Oh, I was listening to like Guns N' Roses and like
Nice.
Five for Fighting and like mostly just anything my sister would throw at me.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first mix I ever got was a CD from her. It was like 1985 from Bowling for Soup, and like
Hell
I'm
yeah.
Only Happy When It Rains by Garbage, and like Where's the Love from the Black Eyed Peas, and like Dream On by Aerosmith, and I like specifically I remember a lot of these things. Oh yeah, Cupid's Chokehold from Gym Class Heroes.
Oh, great song.
Fucking great song. Am I allowed to curse? I'm sorry, I just cursed for
Yeah,
Gym
you
Class
are.
Heroes. And fuck yeah, Gym Class Heroes. That's a great song. And like and so that was what I grew up listening to. And then when I had my own ability, it was just like pulling anything off the shelf, mostly just like punk or metal or rock. I don't listen to any of that stuff.
So how did your taste change after you didn't listen to music for 2 years? What did you listen to when you picked it back up?
That's a great question. Like horrific pop.
Yeah.
Just like, oh man, I remember when I got a phone and I'm like, I could buy songs again on iTunes. Like before I like paid for Spotify, I think I spent like $25 total on like buying individual songs. The first song I bought was like I'm Yours by Jason Mraz.
Nice.
Which is just like, why, like you know, it's a great song, but like, why is that the thing that I'm like, I can finally listen to I'm Yours by Jason Mraz after all this time?
I mean, some of those songs though would just like, they would just like latch on. That's like some of these like pop songs. They just like get you. But I mean, it got you listening to music.
I mean, I guess. I don't really regard that as much of a time other than me being a lazy little fucker, you know, back then, and just being like, well, if I can't listen to music easily, then like, I'm just not gonna do it at all, you know. And then eventually, you know, downloading Spotify and slowly making it work again, and then you have your playlists. And even nowadays, it's like I've stopped like scalping for newer artists too. It's like you get comfortable in your music listening and stuff like that. But right now, my focus, I just bought a record player. And I have 3 records at home. And that is going to be my new avenue for finding new music. It's a very expensive way of doing it.
Yeah.
But I've already picked up Tom Jones' Greatest Hits.
Nice.
I've already picked up a Chicago album. And right as I left New York, somebody gave me Tapestry, Carole King's Tapestry.
Oh, I love that album.
Great album.
Such a good album.
Top tier. But then I had no record player, so then I got a record player. But now I have no speakers. So we're very close.
Mm-hmm.
So close.
Putting it all together, it seems like music and the player is like really has a lot, like the mode of listening. So do you have like spaces that you listen to music in?
Yeah, I would. Interestingly enough, like, you know, obviously your car. Because
Yeah.
you spend so much time in your car here. But like, I would just as equally sit in like 45 minutes of traffic in silence
Yeah.
for whatever reason. Or like, you know.
Because you're whistling.
Yes, I am whistling pretty much the whole time. Yes.
You got your own music.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like you have your own cloud of music around you, right? We always talk about that. Like I can see. I feel shifts when I'm around certain people, and they
Yeah.
also have clouds of music. And
So
you're
you
just
see me and you think tuba?
yeah, and I'm like, I just can't whistle for 10 minutes.
It's because the register of the tuba is much lower. You got to try the lower tones.
My head is not in the whistle.
It's not on the whistle.
My head is pretending I'm like a big rubber boot.
But I would say in general, like, I don't know. I like dancing between like silence and the music and like sound throughout most of my day. But like, I don't know. I covet the moments of silence because I a lot of my day is just noise. You know.
Well, you said that you get stuck in like the same artists right now. You're not looking for new ones. What are the artists that you listen to a lot of?
And I would say I wouldn't even categorize it as stuck because I'm like, if I'm stuck, then I got Stockholm syndrome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm not mad about it whatsoever. But like, it's not even like recently. Like it's just like the things that I've been like compiling over the last couple of years. But right now, I've been hanging out with a bunch of jazz musicians, and so I've been like listening again to like the classics of anywhere from like Chet to like Ella again. Like I mean, I'd always throw like Louis on, but like. And then you can go like Thelonious Monk or like Bill Evans and then but I'm also like I'm always listening to like dad rock also at the same rate, like stuff like and some psych rock stuff and just like and like disco. I've just been on a disco kick for the last like 4 years, and I really don't think it's ever gonna change.
Right, I mean, disco's great.
A ton of Earth, Wind and Fire, like Kool and the Gang, and like I mean my friends even been like, well, here's my disco house playlist, and I'm like, so now I get like the hot fun EDM beats of today. And like the funky, like glam disco of the past.
Do you listen to like Boney M ever?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really good.
Yeah, beyond like Rasputin and stuff like that.
Yeah. But also like back to jazz. Do you listen to like Mingus or?
A little bit less, but yes, yes.
I was also thinking of Lee Morgan. Do you know Lee Morgan, the trumpet player?
No, I do not.
He's really good. Cornbread, really good. You should check it out.
Cornbread.
Yeah, I love jazz. But, I mean, I think that, like, when you find, like, your cornerstones, right, that's, like, how you build your sound over time. So, I mean, there's so many albums that I listen to, like, at least weekly. But, and I'm, like, it's, like, kind of embarrassing how many times I've listened to this album. But that's
like
the most important thing,
It feels like a shrine that you're returning to, though.
Right.
It's like a weekly meditation, like to put yourself down and like open yourself up like on a ritualistic basis to Lee Morgan or what have you.
Right.
You know?
Do you ever feel like as you're listening to these albums or songs throughout time, like it'll like glow and then it'll like dim and then suddenly something will happen and it'll glow again?
As in like your interest, your calling to it? Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's like one of my favorite parts of it.
When the glow is bright though, it's like, I don't want to listen to anything else.
Right. You're like, or you hear it completely new. You've listened to it like 500 times, and it's the 500th time that you're like.
So I was gonna say, what's glowing for you right now?
What's glowing for me right now?
Yeah.
It's like kind of difficult to get into, but I guess like I have recently I'm more in a phase where I'm exploring new artists. Which is very strange for me. No, it's very strange for me. I can give you tons of different albums I've listened to like for years and years. Like, I mean, Blonde by Frank Ocean I've probably listened to like 7,000 times. But that one I've like almost gotten bored of at this point because I've listened to it so many times, which I hate when that happens. And now I'm like, oh, it's over? Like it used to feel so long to me, like where I would like hear every second of the music.
Like hyper zoom in.
Yeah. Like it would be in my head in this way, and then. Now it's like I put it on and I'm just like driving somewhere and I'm like, oh, it's over. Like, oh, it's just like a few MP4s, you know. It's like I don't mean to like.
When music
I don't
lost
mean
its
any
meaning.
shade, but yeah. Well, and then like a certain track will come back or whatever. This year I've been listening over the last like year and a half. I've been listening to Renaissance by Beyonce a lot, especially the first half of that album, and then I've been listening to Janelle Monáe's. What's the album called? What? Age of Pleasure. So I was going to say Pleasure something. Yeah, Age of Pleasure I've been listening to a lot. But these are all newer. So I've been like really kind of in a new set. But like in terms of my like old standbys, like Kind of Blue by Miles Davis, I've probably listened to like infinite times. I love Cornbread by Lee Morgan. Just like certain jazz albums. I love Blue Train by Coltrane. I love Simon and Garfunkel. I love Paul Simon. I'm a huge Lana Del Rey fan. Like, I know all of her albums and know them, like, back and forth, like, and listen to them over and over and over again.
Like the new one?
Yeah, I love the new one. Do you like it?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think back in New York, I was seeing this girl that liked it too much, and I only honestly like hung out with her like 5 or 6 times, and I think I listened to that album like through like at least 2 or 3 times across all those things, you know. So I thought it was great, but it kind of got a little sour for me at the same time.
Yeah, it's tough when you're accessing something through someone else.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Unless it's someone that you like are really in
But it was
sync
like
with.
it was like a little gateway anyway. So I might not have listened to it at all if it wasn't for
right.
this. I'll take it.
Okay, well, so what are you excited about Moon Rock Cantina for?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. It is the first time that I'll ever be playing something that isn't like an open mic before.
Cool.
First time ever. Like, this is different, like, you know, and it's just thrilling to have the opportunity to play. Like, I've never sat down and, like, played music that long for other people. I've always, like, I've played music for people, like, 2, 3 songs here and there, but, like, to sit down and have, like, 25 minutes is, like, it feels like a playground. Like, I don't even know, like, what to do with myself. Like, I actually was late going to hang out with, a friend a couple days ago because I wanted to sit down and, like, time out the 25 minutes and, like, see what I could do. And then I was, like, frustrated that I wanted to play one more song, but I couldn't get there. And, like, I think that is just, you know, seeing my name on a card is just super nice. And then I have to see how ugly my name looks on a card next to everybody else that's got, like, these either pretty names or, like, artist names and stuff like that. And then I'm like, well, you know, maybe one day I'll have to fix that. But in the future, it's just like a chance to, like, I don't even mind. Like, the opportunity to be background music is, like, so appealing to me. Like, that's awesome. Like, I don't care about being, like, a main attraction. Like, I've never even been to the background music, you know? And so that is it's so exciting.
Yeah.
You know? And just to, like, you know, mix it up. I get to choose what I want to do. Like, in my mind, like, in a couple months, I'd love to just have, like, a little mini, like, weekly bar residency somewhere that I could return to every week and just, like, you know, jam out for, like, an hour or hour and a half or something. I think that'd be fantastic, you know? And I feel like building up a comfort, not as much as playing it in public, but playing, like, set things or, like, sets, like, that's something that I have absolutely no experience in. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Awesome.
And it's in such a lovely space. And I know everyone that's going to be there is going to be great, so.
Yeah. So what are your goals for music in the short term and long term?
Yeah, man, I just, like, want the ability to, like, after a couple of years, just, like, sort of gather my thoughts from across couple of different areas and, like, collaborate with a bunch of amazing artists that I've already met, and then, like, put them in a little box and be like, this is Ari's box. Like, everything I've made in this box is, like, everything that's in this box is coming from other people, but it's coming from, like, me. Like, this is not here before me, right? And, like, here's my box, you know? Like, I've not struggled, because I've really not struggled with this, but, like, I've struggled with the idea of, like, calling myself a musician or calling myself an artist, but, like, having no box, you know, to show people. And so it's, like, not having check out my Spotify, or, like, check this out. Like, I don't have any of that, you know? And it doesn't matter. That's why I don't really struggle with it, because I don't really beat myself about that. Like, as long as I'm still moving or writing something new or, you know, playing somewhere, like, that's really what matters now. It's just, like, I'm scared of stagnation. And so as long as I feel like I'm doing something, like, that's what is important to me. And I've already met some kids. Like, I met a kid at Tristan at, like, Lifted Botanical House the same night that I met you guys. And, like, he's in the East Coast right now, but, like, you know, he's like, let's go record some demos of some scratches of your songs and, like, send them out to other musicians. And I was like, sometimes, like, I really just need a kick in the pants. Yeah. You know? And I'll be there 100%. But, like, sometimes I need a little hand-holding. Like, in the past, I have not gotten that initiative out of myself, you know? So I'm grateful that I feel like I'm surrounding myself with people that might inspire that out of me.
You can come see Ari Lachenauer here at Moon Rock Cantina on October 15th. He's going to be playing a full set, 25 minutes of amazing original singer-songwriter material.
Maybe a cover.
Maybe a cover.
Maybe a cover.
We love you.
I'll see you there.
Bye.